My name is Adam, and I live in a pretty quiet town in Pennsylvania. I'm 29, work a regular 9 to 5 office job, and live alone in a modest house on the edge of a wooded neighborhood. I'm not the kind of guy who believes in ghosts or monsters or anything like that. I've always been the rational type until last fall. It started on a Tuesday night in October. I remember it clearly because I had just gotten home from work and I was doing laundry in the basement before bed. My basement is half finished. It's got an old concrete floor, exposed pipes, and a couple of small rectangular windows that sit just above ground level. One of those windows looks out into my backyard. I was loading the dryer when I saw movement from the corner of my eye. I glanced toward the window, thinking maybe it was a squirrel or something, but what I saw wasn't an animal. It was a face, just barely visible in the dark, pressed up against the glass, staring inside. I stood there frozen, my heart pounding. The window is small, maybe a foot wide, just big enough for a head to peer through. And that's exactly what it was. A pale, expressionless face with large, dark eyes and a slightly open mouth. It didn't blink. It didn't move. Just stared. I blinked, turned off the light to get a better look. But in that split second, it was gone. I stood there for what felt like forever, listening, waiting. Then I grabbed a flashlight, ran upstairs and checked the backyard from the deck. Nothing. The yard was empty, silent. I convinced myself it was probably a trick of the light, maybe a reflection. I wanted to believe that, but that was only the beginning. The next night, I was watching TV around 11 p.m. when I heard a sound, a faint tapping. It wasn't loud, just a light tap-tap that came from the direction of the kitchen. I paused the TV and listened. Nothing. Then it happened again. Tap. I walked to the kitchen slowly and looked toward the sliding glass door. There was nothing outside, just my dim porch light casting shadows across the grass. But when I got closer, I noticed something on the glass. Fingerprints. 5 long, thin smudges, almost too long to be human. They were low on the door, like someone or something short had pressed their hand against the glass. The prints were oily, smeared slightly downward, like the hand had slowly slid off. I locked the door, closed the blinds, and tried to shake it off. Over the next few days, it got worse. I started seeing movement from the corners of my eyes. The face appeared again, this time at my living room window just above the couch. I'd hear light scratching sounds along the exterior walls. Once, while brushing my teeth, I heard something that made my skin crawl. Whispering. It sounded like a voice just outside the bathroom window. Whispering quickly, almost urgently. I couldn't make out the words, but it wasn't the wind. It wasn't leaves or branches. It was speech. I didn't sleep that night. A few nights later, I finally decided to stay up late and keep watch. I sat in the dark with all the lights off, staring out the kitchen window with my phone in hand, flashlight and camera ready. For hours, nothing happened. I started to think I was losing it, that maybe I was just paranoid, sleep deprived. Then just after 2 a.m., I saw a movement near the shed at the back of my yard. I turned on the flashlight and aimed it. What I saw still haunts me. A creature, pale, hairless, emaciated, was crawling on all fours. Its limbs were too long, and its knees bent the wrong way. It moved slowly, almost silently, dragging itself toward the house. Its head turned unnaturally as it crept forward, its face expressionless, its mouth slightly open like before. It stopped about 10 feet from the window. Then it slowly lifted itself up on its hind legs, standing taller than I expected. It stared directly at me through the glass and smiled. That's when I dropped my phone. I dove for it, fumbled with the camera, but by the time I looked up, it was gone, completely vanished. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I tried calling the police, but what could I say? There's a pale crawling man watching me from the backyard. They did a courtesy patrol around my property, found nothing, and told me to call again if I saw someone. I set up motion-activated cameras and lights. I even borrowed a trail cam from a coworker, but they never captured anything. No photos, no alerts. It's like this thing only comes when it knows I'm watching, and only when I'm alone. The final straw happened a week later. I was in bed trying to sleep with the covers pulled up to my neck like a scared kid when I heard a noise. Not outside, Inside, it came from the hallway, a slow, deliberate creaking of floorboards. I sat up, held my breath, and stared at the open doorway of my room. The hallway was dark, but I swear to God I saw something move. Something low to the ground, crawling slowly past the doorframe. I didn't wait to find out what it was. I grabbed my keys, wallet, and phone and ran out of the house barefoot. I've been staying at a hotel 2 towns over ever since. I haven't been back, and I don't plan to. I called a friend to collect my things. But the thing is, last night while lying in the hotel bed, I heard whispering again, not outside, from the closet.